Okay, everybody, here we are, man. This is the review for Asia. Asia, the sixth studio album by Steely Dan. And hey, man, gotta say, I am a big Steely Dan fan. Well, you know what? I was a Steely Dan fan from the word go. But 6 albums later, I am a big Steely Dan fan. And I'm gonna continue driving forward with Steely Dan in regards to doing reactions for not only this particular album, but their next album in successions. Some of the solo works of Donald Fagen, I believe it is, and then just continue, because overall, I really, really like the jazz rock sound that they produce. It's the sound of the musicianship and the quality of it, all of that has me on board. And it's a great thing that Donald Fagen is also a good singer. He delivers well, great harmonies behind him. But the musicianship, the instrumentation, and just the jazz rock sound and the platform of what it allows them to say, all of those things coupled together makes me a really big fan. So hey, man, I've really enjoyed the Asia album. My standout songs would be Deacon Blues, of course, Peg, and Josie. I would say those are my 3 big songs. But having said that, though, all of these songs are great, and I wouldn't skip a single one. If I'm playing it in succession, if I'm doing my whatever and it's playing in the background, or if I'm in my car, I'm not going to be pushing fast forward at all. So these songs are all great. They're all really, really well coupled together. I like that, and you can go from one cerebral trip into another. You can be entertained, you can laugh. All of these different things are all coupled together in a Steely Dan album. Really, really love their organization, man. Anyway, so this is the review. So, pardon me for sounding like Wolfman Jack, man. I have a little frog in my throat. I think I'm coming down with something, so I gotta watch myself, especially going into the holidays, man. So, excuse me if I sound a little deeper than usual. So, what I'm gonna do here, man, is do a little read here on the background of Asia, get an idea for how all of this greatness came about, what the motivations were, just get an idea for what Wikipedia has to give us, man, and get some background. I love the background, not just the appreciation for the song, but how it came about, what the motivations were, the experiences in life that taught them things that makes them want to put it down permanently in a frame of song and notes. So that stuff is just as intriguing as the song itself in my mind. So let's get into this review, man. Sorry, just getting my link here. Come on, baby. There we go. So, Asia. Asia is the 6th studio album by jazz rock band Steely Dan. Originally released in '77 on ABC Records, the album peaked at number 3 on the US charts and number 5 in the UK. It was the band's first platinum album and ultimately became their best-selling studio release, eventually selling over 5 million copies. It spawned a number of hit singles including Peg, Deacon Blues, and Josie. In July of '78, the album won the Grammy Award for Best Engineered Non-Classical Recording. The credits for Asia list nearly 40 musicians as band leaders Donald Fagen and Walter Becker pushed Steely Dan further into experimenting with different combinations of session players. Right there in itself is an astounding feat. To be able to have so many session musicians come and go, nearly 40 just for this album alone, and you have maintained your level of quality and perfection, it's really astounding, definitely, man. give them props for that. Background. Donald Fagen has said the album was named for a Korean woman who married the brother of one of his high school friends. The album features several leading session musicians. The 8-minute-long title track features jazz-based changes and a solo by saxophonist Wayne Shorter. Yeah, that's sexy sax in Asia, man. Yo. I gotta get some damn lessons. That's on one of my bucket lists items, man. It's high up there. Background. Oh, sorry, I've already read the background. I'm skipping about here. Yeah, okay. Yeah, critical reception and legacy. All right, let's go there. Reviewing in 1977 for Rolling Stone, Michael Duffy said that the conceptual framework of Steely Dan's music has shifted from the pretext of rock and roll toward a smoother, awesomely clean, and calculated mutation of various rock, pop, and jazz idioms, while their lyrics remain as pleasantly obtuse and cynical as ever. Duffy added that while the duo's extreme intellectual self-consciousness was beginning to show its limitations, the latter may be precisely the quality that makes Walter Becker and Donald Fagen the perfect musical anti-heroes for the 70s. Unquote. Robert Christgau of The Village Voice initially hated the record before he realized that, unlike the Royal Scam, it was stretching me some, while noting that he was grateful to find Fagen and Becker's collegiate cynicism in decline. However, he believed the band's preference for longer, more sophisticated songs could turn into their fatal flaw. Unquote. This guy, Christgau, is a hard man to please, let me tell you. But overall, his review is positive here, I think. Greg Kot was also lukewarm toward the band's stylistic departure, later writing in the Chicago Tribune, "The cynical coldness first evidence on the Royal Scam is perfected here. Longer, more languid songs replace the acerbic pithiness of old." Unquote. Barry Walters was more receptive in a retrospective review for Rolling Stone, saying, "Rock has always excelled at embodying adolescent ache, but it's rare when rock captures the complications of adult sorrows almost purely with its sound." Unquote. Yo, wonders never cease, yo. Donkeys can fly. I agree with Rolling Stone. Barry Walters, I totally agree with everything he just said there. Look at that. The album has been cited by music journalists as one of the best test recordings for audiophiles due to its high production standards. Walters noted in his review, the album's surreal sonic perfection, its melodic and harmonic complexity, music so technically demanding, its creators had to call in A-list session players to realize the sounds they heard in their heads but could not play, even on the instruments they had mastered. Unquote. That long-ass sentence, I started like about, 7 sentences in one, only one comma in the middle. Anyway, reviewing Age's 2007 all-analog LP reissue, Ken Kessler from Hi-Fi News and Records Review gave top marks to both recording and performance qualities, calling the album sublime jazz rock that hasn't aged at all. Yeah, I like that. Sublime jazz rock that hasn't aged at all. Excellent. I'm going to quote that. "Unless you consider intelligence passé, it is everything you expected the painfully hip, cool Becker and Fagen to deliver." Unquote. Excellent. Excellent. Very good. Ken Kessler from Hi-Fi News and Records. Great review there, brother. All right. Hey, overall, great positive review. Even Christgau, he started off hating it, but then he started to listen to it more, and he got more the gist of what they were doing. So, hey, overall, great review. Even the staunchest of critics here gave it a great review. You gotta have a complex vocab to be a critic. I will never be a critic because I keep saying dumbass, stupid ass, this, damn this. I will never, ever, ever be a critic. I know that now. You gotta have a complex vocab. Damn, man. All right. So overall, I can't say that this is my favorite of the albums because it's now been 5 weeks since I first started the first one. I haven't had time to go back and usually do my breaking down and dissecting as I usually do. Usually, come Sundays is kind of like that. Sunday, Mondays is kind of like my break when I kind of look back at all that I've done the previous week. Take it all in, play everything, sit and chill. But I haven't had time to do that. So I really, really like Asia though. But I can't give it my top billing yet because I still have more Steely Dan reactions to do. Namely, I'm just scrolling down to my notes here now. Their next album, their 7th studio album, is it Gucho or Gaucho? I don't know how the hell to pronounce that, but Gucho. So I'm gonna do that reaction, and then I'm gonna set Steely Dan aside for a little while, and I'm gonna hit the Allman Brothers. And when I say I'm gonna hit the Allman Brothers hard, right? And when I say hard, I'm talking about having time off now, having most of the day to myself. So if by my previous experience I have most of the day, I can hit 3 reactions a day, probably, based on how much editing, based on these, if no one is bothering me, that sort of thing. But I'm gonna hit the almonds hard. Reason being is that I feel that the almonds have not had their proper due on my channel. I feel that it's been such a long time coming, and I'm still really surprised that it's taken this long for them to make Artist of the Month. But I think that it is very, very fitting now with the time off that I'm getting to be able to really hit it hard and to sit down and soak it up, not have to bounce away and go to work and all of this sort of thing. So I am going to react the hell out of the almonds. I'm letting you know this now. And anybody, and I mean anybody, who comes to me saying, hey, yo, why are you doing so much of this, so much of that? You're being warned right now. You can sometimes see 2 to 3 reactions for the almonds at a time, per day, or whatever it is. That is what I'm talking about. Gonna be hitting it really, really hard. And by the end of December, man, I would have really waded well into the almonds discography. I won't get it all done, I know that. I've got to save more for down the road, but I feel like a kid, a giddy ass kid, and you're holding me at bay before letting me into that candy store, right? And that candy store is all mine, and I'm like one of those horses in the bay, just ready to just charge out of that damn gate. So you open those doors and you let that kid into that room. Oh man, that's how I feel about the time off and being able to hit the Allman Brothers. So that's what you're going to be getting. That's why I'm so damn giddy with anticipation, because my time off is coming up in a day or so, and it's just going to be me and the Allman Brothers and you. So anybody who doesn't like the Allman Brothers or might be objecting to me hitting it so hard, hit the bricks now, because it's going to be coming at you in your face. I just want to let you know, you've been warned. All right. So man, what else do I have coming up? So besides the almonds, I'm going to totally catch up to all of my complimentary quads. And in complimentary quads, because I have had upload troubles mainly with YouTube, and because I've done some dumbass things and erased a lot of my calendar, some of you might fall through the cracks. So if I am owing you a complimentary quad, if you are a silver patron and up, if you are like $5 tier and up, and you've been with me for a while, and you haven't had your complimentary quad yet, you've probably fallen through a crack. Get in touch with me right away, because your complimentary quad is priority, right? Doesn't matter what I've got on my calendar or whatever it is, your complimentary quad is priority. So if you have not had your complimentary quad, you're a silver and up patron, and you've been with me for a while, that means that I don't have it. It's been erased or it's gone. Get in touch with me right away, because you are top billing, okay? So I'm going to catch up to my complimentary quads. I'm going to finish off Physical Graffiti. That's Led Zeppelin's 6th studio album. And I want to get into their 7th album. By the end of December, before the new year, I want to be at least a few reactions in. Presence it is. So I want to get a few reactions for Zeppelin done. And as well, for the month of December, I want to catch up on my Patreon exclusives. So I have a couple of reactions for my Patreon exclusives lined up. And remember, patrons, you are the ones who feed me these Patreon exclusives. They just don't come from me. I don't pull them out of the air. So if you don't feed me these Patreon exclusives, live performances, then I don't do any. So remember, and I'm talking all patrons. There's no separation between the tiers. All patrons, you send me Patreon exclusive reactions. And so load me up with those, because there's not a lot in the chamber for reactions. I've only got a couple. So just a reminder to load me up for those, okay? And those are all in my notes, man. And so back to Steely Dan. Yeah, I am a very, very big fan of Steely Dan, primarily because I haven't heard anyone in my rock experience so far command the jazz rock platform like this. And I have recognized now a number of different kind of branches of classic rock. You know, there's the that far and away cerebral trip that the Pink Floyds and the Yeses takes you on. To a certain extent, the Zeppelins, when they're doing some of their stuff like No Quarter. Speaking of Zeppelin, you know, their cover of the blues and just their signature sound with their thunder is just another hallowed place in itself. There's just nobody else that sounds like them. So I give them their own category. And then you've got your great funk rock fusion, you know, and like some of the fusions rock, like the not the Steely Dans, like the Santanas, you know. So there's a number of different little areas in rock that I've identified that I really like. The Southern rock genre, the Southern rock sound, to me is just still so, I don't know, wholesome and heartwarming or something. I just love it. But this jazz rock platform is really, really impressive. Of course, sorry, I'm not sleeping on the metal platform as well. I've discovered Ronnie James Dio and some of the great metal acts as well. So I'm not sleeping on the metal genre. I do have to do a little bit more in that regard. But yeah, we're talking about Steely Dan now. They are in a category of their own as well. This jazz rock platform, I really, really dig it for so many reasons. And I've listed it already, you know, their great competence in their writing and the way they deliver their message. I really like how the musicianship is on point. The playing is on point. Stretching out the song, infusing it with a sexy sax. You got the organ, you got the piano, you've got those great guitar solos, man. Holy cow. That dude there, Skunk Baxter, oh man, gotta get to know him a little bit more. So They have so much going for them, and the sound quality is so good. The message behind it is so good. They can make you feel so many different emotions. I could probably sit down and list maybe 100 reasons why I like Steely Dan, why I'm a fan of theirs. But the jazz rock platform has got me, y'all. And this is why I'm going to finish pretty much every single thing that Steely Dan has ever touched. And I'll get to the end of it eventually. But I'm a big fan of their utilization of the jazz rock platform. That's why I like them. How they do it, how well they do it, what they say, what they do about manipulating all of the different elements together, all of the instruments to bring about a certain feel. I could go on and on and on, but you get it. I like them. So man, that is my reaction and my review for this great album. I'm looking forward to the 7th album, Guccio or whatever it is. I know you're going to correct my pronunciation. I'm not worried about that. What else was I going to say about Steely Dan? Is there anything else? No, that's it. Just basically that I'm just going to continue with it. I'm not done. The next time I cover Steely Dan will probably be in a week's time doing Guccio, Leave It Alone for a little bit, and then I'll come back to it in the new year, covering some more. Maybe I'll go into the Donald Fagen. I'm going to follow the time sequence. So go into the Donald Fagen solo albums, and then catch up to Steely Dan again back when they reunite in the 2000s. I believe there were 2 other albums. I'm just going to follow the time sequence with Steely Dan and go from there, man. So that's my review. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, a reminder, I'm going to be hitting the almonds hard. I don't want anybody getting in my face about how much I'm doing and why I'm doing so much and all of that sort of thing. You're going to be ignored, okay? All right, man. You guys have yourselves a great day, and I'll catch you in my next Allman Brothers reaction, which will be side 2 of Idlewild South. I'm going to try and do side 2 and a review together, and then I'm going to hit, it's Fillmore East I was trying to think of the other day. I'm going to hit Fillmore East really, really hard, and it's going to be individual song reactions, the entire album, giving them the Led Zeppelin treatment. So that's what's coming up immediately after this. All right, man, I'm looking forward to it. Have yourselves a good day, and I'll catch you in my Allman Brothers reaction. Peace.